We're on. Welcome to Speakers Bank, Our Voices, Our Views. My name's Mariam, and today I'll be interviewing Scott Venus. Scott, thank you for joining us for our Speakers Bank podcast, Living with a Disability series.
Thank you for the invite. Hope I can be helpful.
You'll be fine, I'm sure. Scott, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you became a carer?
Well, actually, it wasn't a conscious choice to actually do that. I was friends with Debbie for a long time, and basically a combination of home situations and stuff like that basically needed to help each other out. Ended up trying to establish a home base somewhere that was comfortable ground for us both. I think friendship sort of ebbed and flowed along the way. There was possible potential there for us to have been a lot more than that, but in the end, just to mental health issues from her past catching up to her a little bit. Just it made better sense to just look after her on that basis and kind of leave it at. Also, financially at the time, it was a 50-50 bet, but it was basically something that really needed to be done. It wasn't really a conscious choice, like I said.
Okay, so prior to being Deb's carer, did you have any industry experience?
No, not at all. All I knew how to be was a good friend, and it kind of sort of had to learn the ropes from there. But because she knew and trusted me, it was probably a lot easier for me to step in the role than get someone professional to do it.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I guess that leads me into my next question. Apart from empathy and reliability, what other qualities do you think a carer requires?
Most definitely it's patience.
Patience.
Yeah. Even on the good days, you can be tested, and you really need to try your best not to let things get the better of you at times, and especially when things like my own health, migraines and my Crohn's disease also get in the way sometimes, make it a little bit hard, but just got to push through that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, following on that question, how do you then practice self-care? How do you take care of yourself while you're caring for someone else?
Oh, the best thing you can do is try and keep your mind fresh. So, like I said, things can try and get the better of you. So I've been a long-time member of a poetry website. I've been writing for 20 odd years. So before I became involved with Deb anyway, I was writing, and I sort of use that as an outlet, whether certain situations or moods might become inspiration. It just gives me a chance to zone out from normal for a little bit, and I even think from a mindset outside myself. And as a result, I can show you here. I've got 4 self-published poetry books. That was number 1. That was the second one.
Oh, wow.
That was the third one. This is the current one.
Fantastic.
And I'm working on number 5 at the moment. So.
And you self-publish those books yourself?
Yeah, they're online initially through CreateSpace. Now that has been sort of taken over by Kindle Direct, but it's all a subsidiary of Amazon. So they're online on the web through them and Booktopia and a few other places.
And we just Google your name and we can find a link to them.
Yeah, yeah. And I've also got a website on WordPress as well, so they'll have they'll have the links across to Amazon anyway.
All right. Thank you. Can you describe for us a challenging situation while you've faced in your professional work and how you've dealt with it?
An individual instance is probably a little bit difficult to recall over the years, but I know at the end of 2014, I was hospitalised for a while with before I got the Crohn's disease diagnosis, and I very nearly didn't come out. So
Oh,
trying to you know, get back into the caring duty while I'm still trying to recover and all that wasn't the easiest of things to do while I'm trying to do with having wound care and stuff that I needed taken care of, because basically the surgery that I had wasn't friendly. It split basically from just above the hip to um, halfway up the stomach part, so through the belly button.
mm,
So it left quite a scar, and that took quite a bit of time to heal, and it's also hindered a little bit of my ability to do things like lifting and stuff like that because of lack of core now because of it. So having to fight through all that and still do the caring duties, and I'd be on the road recovery to myself at that time was probably about the worst of it.
yeah, I mean, we all know how self-care is important, but being a carer as well, I guess that's even more makes it even more important and challenging, especially if in your case you've had like a physical surgery that's impacted your job.
Yeah, well, it's something that is ongoing. I'm on medication for it, and every now and then I might get a flare up for it. It could just be sharp shift in temperatures or whatever set it off. It could be something dietary. I could go out to a restaurant and it might be like hidden trigger food in the meal that I wasn't aware of at the time, and that just ends up giving me stomach cramps or complications that make it hard to sleep through the night, and that makes it hard to work and do the care duties the following day.
So
Things change.
how do you care for yourself in that situation? Do you find as a carer that you need to put your own physical pain on the sidelines and deal with the person you're caring with? How do you overcome that?
Well, for the most part, yeah, I just sort of I I have to sort of kind of suck it up and work through it. But there are also times when I just can't. It incapacitates me a little bit. And I just got to say, look, I got to get a partner to step in to maybe look after for a few hours because I just need that time to let my body say, nah, you've had enough. Have a rest.
Yeah, and that's really important as well. How have you dealt with conflict in a client's life if you know that someone in their immediate family or their support network is like asking them to do something that's not in your client's best interest? How do you deal with that as a carer?
Haven't really had to touch on that one very much at all. Like I said, there were mainly issues of the past, and she went through a program to help her with that when we were living in the Hunter.
Okay.
So that basically helped to deal with those issues, and the person that was responsible for that is no longer with us either. So that kind of helps her mental state with as far as that's concerned. But
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
at the moment, it's just probably the distance from her family, being that she's down here in Victoria, and her mother is in Maitland, and her father is in Wollongong, but occasionally up at Ballina at his mother's place. So yeah, just trying to balance time to at least have FaceTime with them.
I was just going to ask, that was my next question. How has COVID impacted or changed your job as a carer? Has it had any effect on it?
Oh well, to be brutally honest, we've seen more of these four walls than we get to.
I think we're all in that same
But
situation.
yeah, no, we've given my health issues and stuff like that, so we had to minimise the amount of time we were going out for one start off anyway. But yeah, so it was basically the only time we left the house was reduced to going to pick up coffee, pick up click and collect groceries, and go and get the doctor checkups. That was about all. And it got a little bit monotonous and a little bit unfair having a toddler in the house who wasn't allowed to go to the park and play or anything like that. So it just had to try and keep her entertained as best as we could and sort of take away from the caring duties a little bit. But
Yeah.
then in that time, we were able to get a little bit extra rest where we needed as well. So
Well, you couldn't really do much within a 5 kilometre radius, could you?
no. Even our medications to pick them up, pretty. Oh, if one place wasn't open, then the next closest was over that 5 k's. But being it was for medical supplies, it had to be overlooked. So yeah, it was just a challenge all around. And my mum's health conditions as well. I couldn't go and see her during that time, and she had only just moved prior to the lockdowns. So no, she's a 2.5 hour drive away.
Seems like it's impacted everybody differently, but the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, the things that matter most were the things that were hardest hit.
Yes, family and human connection. I have to agree with you there. As a carer, has what has been something positive that a client has taught you?
Oh, I guess it comes back to an earlier point I made about patience. Uh, if you don't have a certain amount of that or tolerance, and you believe me, after a while you do build that up.
Yeah.
Then yeah, it's probably not an advised thing to get yourself into unless you happen to fall into it like I did and sort of had to adapt along the way. But yeah, definitely you have to be a lot more patient than you would have expected in the beginning.
Okay, well, you've kind of answered my next question, which was, what advice would you give to other carers? So I guess you've just answered that. Other than patience, is there anything else you would advise?
Yeah, you got to have an outlet, something that takes your mind away from your responsibilities for a little while, whether it be a hobby, a sport, or you know anything creative.
And in your
Just
case,
exercise a different part of your mind for a while. It gives you that little bit of a mental escape, if anything, if nothing else.
and for you, it's the poultry, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
well, for mainly the poetry, but I do play an online game called City Skylines, where you build cities and you can get as detailed as putting um, mailboxes and um, like um, fruit market stalls and stuff like that on your streets if you want to. It can be that detailed, or it can be just you put a building down, you put a road go past it so that they can drive around and you watch that. But it also gives you the opportunity to develop your own maps and that as well, so that other people can build on. I've been getting into that a little bit as well. So
So it's basically
something. It's a break from the poetry and the other side, so it just gives myself a little bit of balance, I think.
so basically any activity that you enjoy that helps you switch off.
Yeah. Ideally, I wouldn't mind going to play lawn bowls as well, but I haven't done that for a while, and my lack of form makes it a little bit hard for me to do that repetitive bending too. So, but yeah, that would have been an outlet for me as well, and that would have been impacted by COVID.
Yes. What message can you share to people about the important role of carers? I know you said you fell
Oh,
into this position, but I'm sure it's a very important and rewarding job. So, what information would you like to share to other people?
well, that's probably the hardest thing to evaluate, really. I mean, on your own basis, by yourself, you'd probably have to get that from the perspective of the people that you're caring for. In that, self-analysis is one of the hardest things to do, really. Uh, I know that from again from poetry. I'm my own biggest critique.
Well, how long have you been a carer for? Maybe if we ask that question, you can.
Probably about 11 years.
Wow, okay. That's a long time.
Yeah, so it's given me a few grey hairs, as you can probably see. Uh, but for the most part, I suppose is the main one that's benefited from it would be Deborah, and if it wasn't for me, then I don't know where she would be. So I think for that, if I looked at it that way, it was probably worth it.
Of course, of course. Okay, well, is there anything else that you would like to add that you would like us to know about, the job of a carer?
No, not really. I think I've covered it.
All right then.
At least my experience of it, anyway.
Well, you do a very important job, regardless if you don't want to admit that or not. You do the work you do is very important, and I'm sure Deborah would attest to that.
I hope so.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Scott. For more information, please contact Speakers Bank on 039687 7006 or www.speakersbank.org.au. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page. Thanks again for joining.